Hello everyone, I hope and pray that you're well. You can see I'm here in George Little Park, the band shelter behind me to my left, and you can maybe hear some kids. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. They're playing on the playground but also in the water park. We had church in the park here this past weekend, and as I was helping to close the service, I said that it was great to hear kids squealing from the playground and to see old timers who knew just where the right places to put their chairs so that they stayed in the shade the whole service. And then I said that it was great to see dogs at church in the park, which may have been a bit of a mistake. Because after the service, right after the service, some nice lady from the Riverboat Days organization committee made a beeline for me after the service, kindly to point out that dogs are not actually allowed in George Little Park. Who knew? But anyways, it made me think a little bit of Jonah. I don't know if you remember the prophet Jonah, right? The 3 whole days in the belly of a whale, Jonah. Remember when Jonah grudgingly preaches to the city of Nineveh, and then Nineveh actually repents, and then Jonah pouts angrily, right? He couldn't abide that the mercy of God would reach to this pagan city. Anyways, fed up with Jonah's attitude, God says to him, "Should I not be concerned for that great city Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people and also many animals." Now, of course, God's redeeming love is certainly for men and for women who bear his image. But somehow it also embraces all of creation. And like a lot of human beings, God has a special place in his heart for the animals. Now, if you read through the Psalms, they often picture animals as objects of God's care, objects of God's delight. Birds and animals chirp and bleat and roar their praises to the Creator. And since animals are so important to God, they ought to be important to us. Now, we read through the scriptures and we know that in the beginning humanity was tasked with dominion. And the psalmist reminds us that God gave humans dominion over the works of God's hands, put all things under their feet, sheep and oxen, beasts of the field, birds of the air, fish of the sea, whatever passes on the paths of the sea, right, from Psalm 8. But that term dominion is certainly one that has been, at least occasionally, if not frequently, misapplied. But I was reminded of this old book by Matthew Scully, and it's entitled Dominion: The Power of Man, the Suffering of Animals, and the Call to Mercy. Now, Scully, the author, isn't a typical environmentalist. He grounds the humane care of animals precisely in this biblical idea of dominion. But he helps us, right? He reminds us that dominion means lordship, which isn't blanket control or arbitrary, but this lordship is authority exercised with love and with care. It means caring especially for those creatures that are dependent on our care and mercy, just as we are dependent on God's care and mercy. All this to say, yeah, you should probably leave your dogs at home next year if you come to church in the park. But also, rest assured that all animals are cared for by God and by all of us who take seriously this call to being caring and merciful. The peace of Christ be with you all.